Hi everyone, welcome to my vinyl collection video. Today I'll be going over my entire vinyl collection. This will be excluding my classical vinyl and then my dad's old vinyl, but for the most part I will be going over my entire collection. So the way my collection is set up, it is in alphabetical order by artist name, so start with A, end with Z. A few fun things about my collection are that I started collecting in 2020. I got my first record player for Christmas. It was a suitcase record player, which now I know isn't so great, but I've grown since then and my collection's grown since then. So I'm just going to be showing you guys all of the vinyl I have. And first off, I'm going to start with the current record player that I have. So the current record player I have is a custom U-turn audio. I saved up for it a few years ago and bought it myself. I designed everything myself, so we have a black turntable with a standard black platter and black slip mat. And then we have, of course, the acrylic, I believe, um, dust cover. And I upgraded the cartridge on mine, so I have the Ortofon cartridge, and then I have the Q lever as well, just to make it easier to start and stop my records. So now we are going to go over the vinyl. So again, it is in alphabetical order. So the first artist in my collection is Arctic Monkeys. First up, we have The Car. This is the standard black pressing. I got this from Urban Outfitters, I believe a little bit after it came out. Next up is Tranquility Base, Hotel and Casino, Arctic Monkeys, black pressing. This was a gift from someone, and it is a really good album. I really like the change they've had from more of their rockier stuff into this kind of like jazzy, almost ambient rock, and it is very beautiful. But I do adore their older music, so of course we have AM by Arctic Monkeys, their most famous album, Black Pressing. Very great album. I'm so happy I got into Arctic Monkeys because their music is very good. And next up, we have Suck It and See, Arctic Monkeys, black pressing. I believe most of their pressings are black. There are a few colored ones, but I don't own any of them, unfortunately. And last up for Arctic Monkeys is Favorite Worst Nightmare, black pressing. The two I am missing from Arctic Monkeys is their first album and then their third album. Um, I see them all the time and I want to buy them, but I just haven't yet. So that is all for my A's. So next up in my collection is my B vinyls. First up we have Renaissance by Beyonce. So this is not the alternative cover art. So what actually happened is I ordered this record on Discogs, and when it came, the entire front was ripped off. So when I was sleeving my vinyl, I discovered that there was a booklet inside, and the booklet happens to have the exclusive alternative art as the cover for it. So what I did was I put the booklet as the cover art and then slid the vinyl in the back. So it worked out. I still wish that I had the original cover art, but it's okay. It still works and I can still listen to it. So I'm grateful for what I have. So next up in my collection is Billie Eilish. So first off, we have her new album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. This album is definitely a grower for me. I didn't love it at first, but it is definitely becoming one of my favorite albums that have come out so far this year. This is the indie exclusive Blue on Eco Vinyl, and I think that it's really great that she is kind of paying more attention to recycling and the environment. I wish that more artists would follow her in this, but it is definitely progress that will happen and should happen. But next up, we have Happier Than Ever. This is the Target Blue, which kind of looks green right now. And I actually kind of wish that I got the Amazon green one, but it's okay. I still love this pressing and I still love this album. And next up, we have When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? This is the Target Glow in the Dark. Mine really doesn't glow in the dark anymore, but it still plays and it's still a great album. And lastly, for my Bs, we have Don't Smile at Me. This is the red pressing, which is very beautiful and is, I believe, one of the only reds I have in my collection, if not the only red. But that is all for my Bs. So next up in my collection are my Cs. So I only have one artist for C, and that is Cage the Elephant. This is their new album, which is very good. It was definitely a grower for me. This is the web store Sweet Tart, and I was lucky enough to get a signed pressing. Um, it is very cool, and the pressing is definitely very beautiful. And next up, I have Social Cues by Cage the Elephant. This is just the standard black. I really wanted to get the green pressing, but I just haven't been lucky, and maybe eventually I'll get it. But that is all for my Cs. Next up is my D vinyl. So far I only have one artist. I have a vinyl from them. It is the Dangerous Summer. This is the blue, and I was lucky enough to get a signed pressing. Um, their new album comes out this month, so I will be receiving their new vinyl sometime at the end of this month. Maybe I'll post it, maybe not, but it is a very cool pressing. But yeah, The Danger Summer. I recently discovered them, and it's pretty good music. It's kind of like dad rock slash like coastal rock, and it is very cool. But that is all for my D. So next up in my collection is E. Once again, I only have one artist, and that is Elder. This is their um two singles. It is Spires Burn slash Release. This is the purple and gray pressing. I got this from the exchange. I actually discovered it because it was on sale, so I just bought it because I thought it was pretty, and now I can't stop listening to it. I'm hoping to collect more Elder vinyl because they're a really cool band, and I really enjoy their music, but so far that is all I have for E. So next we are going to move on to K. For K, I have Knocked Loose. This is their new album, and I was lucky enough to get a beautiful pressing. This is the blue, bone, and purple. It's an A side, B side, so one side is that color scheme, and the other side's a different one. So for mine, my A side is that purple, blue, and white, and then my B side is blue and white. It turned out very pretty, and I was so excited when I saw this pressing in the web store, and I just had to get it. This vinyl was actually a gift from a friend, and I am so happy that I got it. And next up, we have another Knocked Loose vinyl, a different shade of blue. This is the blue pressing. I forget what it's called, but it is very beautiful, and it's very cool because when you hold it up to the light, you can actually like see through it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is a very beautiful pressing. But that is all I have for K. So next up in my collection is L. I will say that this artist I don't really support anymore due to controversy and cancellation, but at the time I was really excited. This was one of my first vinyl that I bought, but it is Lizzo. I don't have my pressing in the back, but it is just a standard black pressing. That's really all I have to say about this artist. I used to really enjoy them, but I'm just kind of very disappointed in their actions as an artist, and I wish they would take accountability for their actions. But that is all I have for L. So next up in my collection is M. I have a pretty decent M collection. So starting with Melanie Martinez. I have Portals. This is the web store black and I believe baby pink pressing. Mine didn't turn out the best, but it's definitely still pretty. And next up is After School, Melanie Martinez. This is the Walmart grape, forest green, and pink vinyl. It's definitely pretty. It isn't my favorite pressing of After School, but it's definitely up there. And next up is my prized possession. This is my K through 12 vinyl, and I was lucky enough to receive the limited edition green and the heart pressing. If I could get it out. Go. The heart pressing, I received this as a gift, and it is definitely one of my favorite vinyl in my collection. I really enjoy this mint green pressing, and I think that it is a very good album. And next up, we have um, Crybaby by Melanie Martinez. This is the Barnes and Noble, I believe it's Pink Marble exclusive. My A side isn't as pretty as the B side is, so it definitely shows up better with a white background, but this is my A side. And I didn't mean B side, I meant the C, the second disc. The second disc is definitely a lot more marbled than my first one is, but it is still a very pretty pressing. And next up, we have My Chemical Romance, Black Parade, just the standard black pressing. I wish I had the bone in black, but I don't, and it's okay. Maybe one day I will have it, but as of now, I just have the standard black. And then their best album, in my opinion, Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. Again, just the standard black. I wish I would have hopped on the Hot Topic pressings a little bit sooner because the Bloodstain or Blood Splatter pressing is definitely very beautiful. But again, maybe eventually I will get it. But that is all I have for M. So next up in my collection is N. For N, I only have one artist, and that is Nirvana. Nevermind. This is definitely one of my favorite pressings. It is the Target Gray, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it's definitely one of my favorite because of how wavy it is. If you can see, it has like the little waves in it. It's a really pretty pressing, and I think gray vinyl is definitely a little bit underrated. It usually turns out pretty cool, and it's definitely one of my favorite albums to listen to. But that is all I have for N. So next up in my collection is O. For O, again, I only have one artist, and that is Olivia Rodrigo, Sour. This is the Target exclusive alternative artwork and blue pressing. It's a very fun album to revisit. I've recently revisited it, and it's definitely very enjoyable, and I think it's definitely grown on me since the first time I listened to it, but that is all I have for O. So next up in my collection is P. I only have one artist for P, and that is Phoebe Bridgers. This is Punisher, and this is the Target pressing. The I believe it's like Radioactive Swamp or something like that. Um, it definitely doesn't look the same as the mock-up, but it is definitely a very beautiful pressing. I love this shade of green, or if you want to call it teal. Again, just like the Nirvana pressing, it's very wavy, and I think it's just a very pretty effect that it has on it. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a very pretty vinyl, and it is very fun to listen to. Definitely one of my top favorite albums. And next up, we have Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers. This is just the standard black pressing. One day, hopefully, I will own the purple, but as of now, I do not. And that is all I have for P. Next up in my collection is R, and once again, I only have one artist for R, and that is Rage Against the Machine. I don't have the pressing in the back, but it is just the standard black pressing. I'm not sure if there are any colored pressings, but it is a very good album, and I love listening to it when I'm angry at the government. And yeah, it's a very fun album to listen to, and I really want to collect their other albums because I really love Rage Against the Machine. It reminds me of my mom because we both listened to Rage Against the Machine when I was younger, and I really want to see them, but I'm not sure if they are touring. I know that they have played shows recently, but I don't know if they've come anywhere close to where I live. But it would be really fun seeing them. But that is all I have for R. So next up in my collection is S. For S, I have a few artists, but the first is Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. I don't have the pressing in the back, but it is the standard black pressing. Smashing Pumpkins is one of my favorite artists. They definitely defined 90s grunge and 90s rock, so they are very important to me, and I really hope to collect more of their albums, especially some of their older music, because I really enjoy their older music opposed to their newer stuff. But yeah, that's all I have for Smashing Pumpkins. And next up is The Smiths. Again, I don't have the pressing in the back, but it is just the standard black pressing. I will say I'm not the hugest Smiths fan, but this album is one of my favorites they've ever made. And lastly, I have Starset. This is another one of my most prized possessions. This album was very hard to find. I believe it is the web store Blue. They only made one pressing of this. Well, one version of it. But yeah, it is one of my favorite albums of all time, and hopefully I will collect more of their music because I really enjoy their entire discography. And they're a very awesome band, and I'm so happy I got into them. But yeah, that is all I have for S. So next up in my collection is tea. I have a very big tea collection, and you will see. But first up, I have Tame Impala, Currents. This is just the standard black pressing. I really wish that I had the purple and I believe it's yellow or gold, whatever they call it. But it is a very good album. I haven't really listened to anything except Currents and then also a little bit of their last album they released, but I'm really into their sound, but I just haven't been like very interested in listening to their discography yet. Maybe one day I will. But next up is an artist I might be judged for owning, and I am fine with that because I really enjoy this album, and I think that it is very different from most of their discography. But it is Midnights by Taylor Swift. This is the Jade Green pressing, and all I have to say is that this album definitely got me through a lot, and I just think that it's a very good album, and that's really all I have to say about that. Next up is a band that I discovered a few years ago, and that is Tiger's Jaw, self-titled. This is the pinwheel orange and purple pressing. Um, I am really hoping to get their other albums because I very much enjoy Tiger's Jaw and I really love their sound. I've recently been more into the um, indie and alternative and the smaller like garage band style of music, but Tiger's Jaw is a very good band. And speaking of good bands, we are gonna get into my favorite band of all time, and that is 21 Pilots. This is the new album Clancy, and I have the pinwheel, off-white, and black. Um, this album has definitely grown on me a lot. It is a very, very beautiful album, and they are going on tour soon, so hopefully I will be able to see them. But next up for 21 Pilots, we have the MTV Unplugged. This is the blue vinyl, and as I said before, I'm not really into remixes and um, different versions of songs, but I think 21 Pilots is the exception for me because I think they do it in a very different way to where they completely reimagine their music. And I think that it's hard to do that as an artist, specifically for music that is very popular and it has its distinct sound. But next up for 21 Pilots, I have Scaled and Icy. I have the Web Store Blue. This is definitely one of my favorite pressings. I wish that I would have gotten the Walmart, I believe it's the Curacao Blue. It's very pretty pressing, but I am happy with the web store one. And next up, we have one of my favorite albums they have ever made, if not my favorite, and that is Trench. This is the standard black. I really want to get the transparent yellow one because it is so beautiful and it definitely, I think, encompasses the theme of the album and the color scheme a lot more than black. But speaking of black, Blurry Face. I really enjoy this album. I have the standard black pressing, and I will say, growing up with 21 Pilots, this album got me through a lot of stuff, but I think that it sticks with the younger me more than it does the older me, but it is still fun to listen to, and it is definitely one of my favorite albums. And speaking of another favorite album by 21 Pilots, that is Vessel. This is the standard clear, and it, like I said, is one of my favorite albums of all time. I really would like to get the unofficial released self-titled and also regional at best, but they are very hard to find, so I have to keep looking, but maybe eventually I will own them. And then lastly, for T, I have Tyler the Creator, Igor. This is the black pressing, and it is a very good album, and I think that it introduced me to a new sound of music, and it definitely opened my eyes into different styles of music, and I think overall it's just a very enjoyable album. But yep, that's all I have for T. So last in my collection is W, and I have two artists for W, and the first is Wallows, Nothing Happens. This is the Barnes and Noble clear pressing. I really enjoy Wallows, and I would love to collect more of their albums because I really enjoy their discography, and I think that they're definitely a very standout band. And yeah, I would love to own more of their vinyl. But lastly, for W, I have The Weeknd, Starboy. This is the Target Blue pressing, and I have to say that it is one of my favorite albums he's ever made. I think it's a very well written album. I think it isn't as strong lyrically as it is sonically, but I think that it is definitely a very good album, and I know people like to criticize him for it because they say that he's a sellout, but I think from a producer perspective that it is just a well sounding album. But yeah, that is all I have for W. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is all I have for my collection. I will most likely post update videos once my collection grows a little bit, but for now, that is all I have. Comment down below what your favorite pressing that you own is, or maybe your favorite album, or even what you think your favorite album of this year will be. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.